Hey everyone, welcome back. Baro is here on the Mercury Relay, and this is May 19th. Now, I know how I set the title of this one. We're more so going to focus on the Prisma Lens, but I will go over his inventory very quickly. I am sick, so I slept in and I missed it, but hopefully this will give you the info that you need. As we know, Prisma Lens is new in Baro's shop today. This is the first time it's ever showed up. It is not a skin, it is a genuine new weapon. So what has changed? The crit chance, I believe, is untouched. It does have higher crit multiplier from 2 to 2.8, and honestly, the biggest thing is status has gone from 5 to 16. This has massively improved the potential of the weapon, but there's still a problem, and I'll show it to you very, very soon. Fall off still 70%, blah, blah, blah. Blast damage, I think it went up about 100-ish or so. So the weapon hits a little bit stronger out of the gate and then crits quite a bit harder. I would say it's probably straight up 1.5 times stronger, but the big bonus is the status. But that still isn't enough because, see, this embed delay stat, 1.3 seconds. I'll show you what it means in a little bit. Prime cryo rounds. This is extremely important for rifle meta setups, especially the AoE launchers, and you'd also be using this on Prisma Lens if you're going to pick it up. Prime Firestorm, I don't think I have to explain this now at this point. Even post-nerf from 66 to 44, it is still a huge buff, because remember, radius gets squared for AoE launchers. Prisma Yamako, Sandana, it looks like that. A2 Relic, if you want the Lex and Aklex Prime. Teer, this is a new palette that's a bit more green tinted from another one, but pick it up if you want. If you want to become a cat girl, it is back. We have our Teer Sentinel Mask. Always looks like that. Zephyr Immortal skin, yada yada. Teer Arrow skin. We just need to make it through these quickly. This thing doesn't have horrible stats. It's kind of bad stats, but the biggest problem is the fire rate is absurdly high. And the magazine is absurdly small. So you can burn through the ammo extremely quickly. So I wouldn't recommend using this unless you have a rev for it or you really like it. Otherwise, it's kind of just MR fodder. The entire EOS Prime armor set is here today, so if you want to pick it up, it is available. Eminence palette, this actually has pretty nice purples. I would say pick it up. Prime Pack Leader, useless. 66% Lifesteal Link. Pick it up if you want as a collection mod. But what's important to note here is melees do a ton of damage. Like thousands to tens of thousands of damage. 66% of that gets converted to your pet. The non-prime one would still heal your pet to max instantly. So if you don't care about collecting all of them, this is basically a scam. It's completely unnecessary. Machete Sayakid skin, if you want it, it's back. Akaluxum ornament for your orbiter. And then Grenier Scrawls for your K-Drop if you like that. Garvin Latrox poster is back once again. Vastlock, this is the best armor stripping weapon in the game. It lets you put in a melee slot so you don't have to use an ability or use your focus school. I would still strongly recommend picking this up. Also, it's a pretty strong slash beast if you want to use it for that. Excessively high slash proc scaling on its damage. Like a standard 12x build, I believe, did 5 million, 6 million slash, even though you could still put on heavy efficiency on it. So yeah, but it's just not commonly used for that, mainly armor strip. Fate Path Ephemera, it's there as always, and Sands of Benaros Blueprint. Okay, let's head on over to Samaras very, very quickly on why there is still a problem with the lens. So I have the normal lens here, not the Prisma lens. The normal lens, the thing I want to point out, it has the same embed delay 1.3. Status is base 5%. That's what I meant about how it was a pretty big bump. When you mod status onto this thing, such as you're going for viral, you only have 60 and 60s, or if you take prime cryo rounds, which is more popular, that barely bumps up to 5%. And what this means is even though it has a direct hit on the enemy you target, and it explodes, so that's 2 chances, but everything else only gets hit once, it's still 5% status, which means you can't proc viral. But on the Prisma lens, it's 3 times higher. It's 16. So you can get a fair amount on it because the damage is high enough and you want to kill with slash as the raw damage isn't that fantastic in 8 cold, only useful really to make viral. Then you'd probably double slot 60s instead of running Malignant with Prime Cryo rounds. And the benefit of that is that it would push the status chance up to about 35, 36%, which is a huge improvement over only being able to reach, 8% with one of these mods and 11% with both. So now you'll be able to proc viral 1/3 of the time, which, woohoo! Still a little bit scuffed. It means you're probably going to have to shoot more than once, but as how we know the lens works, let me spawn these types. So it produces this aura where everything inside of it gets slowed. By the way, when you put Prime Firestorm, the visual does not get bigger, but the hitbox is actually a lot bigger. So like, you'll notice they were getting hit even though the bubble doesn't actually expand that far. So just keep this in mind. It does have self-knockdown. I have Prime Sure-Footed, so it's not affecting me. But the biggest part, it might seem fine here. It's like, okay, well, it's doing some damage without damage stacks. As soon as you take off pause AI and you do this, like let's say you do this. The thing is, these enemies are already sidestepping it, and if you pick, say, melee units or stuff that likes to run around a lot more, like let's say we go for these dudes, the Power Claws. And you try to hit them. They just run outside of the bubble. They get slowed, but it's not enough. They can still run out. And if they run out, I mean, they barely get affected. Also, because it takes so long to explode, and there's only so much ammo in this thing, it's not that sprayable. It takes time to kill enemies. So enemies are able to shoot back, and anything that's not caught in the aura can also shoot you. It also affects KPM a lot because waiting for it to explode means you're losing time. You don't know if they're dead or not. You could also shoot twice, but if you shoot twice, you're now burning twice as much ammo when there's only 6 in reserve, and Merciless no longer has the plus 100% ammo. This is a bigger problem than what Brahma has, because at least Brahma kills instantly so it can get ammo back. This weapon, when you spam shots, you don't even know if they're actually going to die, if it's going to proc slash, because Hunter Munitions is only 30% chance, and your viral, even on the Prisma Lens, is only going to be about 35% chance on the AoE. So for that, that's why I'm saying that this weapon looks a lot better on paper than it actually is. Keep that in mind, that this embed delay is a very, very significant reason on why this weapon fell out of meta. Once upon a time when Lens first came out, it was big power creep. You're worried about it killing yourself because of self-damage, but these days, it's just too slow for the current meta. It's usable. There are ways to make it work. Full armor strip, so just annihilate with raw viral damage. Grouping builds to make sure nothing gets away and you know they're going to die. Or if you say play Citrine, which gives absurd status bumps from her prismatic gem, like 200, 300% on higher strength builds. And since the Prisma Lens has base 16%, that can bump it up, giving it a free 32 or 48 status, and that's going to bump the chance of viral all the way up to, say, like 70-80%. And at that point, it's pretty reliable for proccing it, especially because you have multi-shot to factor in. But without it, sitting at about 35-36%, even with galvanized multi-shot, it's still problematic. So what I would say is pick it up for the collection. This probably means we're not getting a Tenet lens anytime soon, but I'm curious if they're going to add in an Incarnon lens down the road, since they made a better variant without really making it strong enough to contend with even other AoEs. Like literally every single other AoE that has come out in the past year or two is stronger than this. And this one still holds the Prisma Lens style points, and nostalgia can work because, well, the stat bumps are sort of enough, but it needs a fair amount of support to make up for the 1.3 second embed delay. Anyways, that's it for me for today. I know this is a raw video upload. I don't do this very often, but I know there's been a lot of people asking me if the Prisma Lens was worth it. And as I'd always say, well, 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I do appreciate if you could drop the video a like, or, well, consider dropping subscribe as well if you want to see more tips and tricks. I try to upload almost daily, and we cover all the Duviri stuff. It's super in-depth. But that's all I got for this time. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.